In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Christ is in our midst. In the Gospel today, the Lord gives this request: pray that laborers be sent. Pray that laborers may be sent, the harvest may be full and be brought in. This harvest of souls, most precious of commodities, human souls, the thing that both angel and demon fight over, the thing that God himself cares for, longs for, desires, human souls. The harvest is plentiful. The laborers are few. And so oftentimes we can hear these words of the Lord and we imagine them in a different context. We imagine them, like so many of the words of the Lord, apart from ourselves. We very rarely say to ourselves, what are you saying to me, Lord? What are you saying to my time, to my generation? Today we are commemorating St. John of Kronstadt, one of the greatest saints in the history of the church, definitely one of the greatest saints of the modern time. St. John laboring in this place of Kronstadt, Kronstadt being a seaport town filled with all the things that come along with a seaside town. Sailors, prostitution, drunkenness, poverty, illegitimacy, illiteracy. All of these things. This is the world in which St. John found himself trying to desperately bring the light of the gospel. Now, we can sit now in 2024 and we can be amazed at the work of St. John. Daily liturgies, giving words to people, encouraging people, working miracles. All of these things, we look at St. John and say, wow, that's amazing. But not me, and not in my town, and not in my parish. But that was very good then. When you hear the word of the laborer, and even now you can say, well, what are you getting at, Father Turbo? Are you going to tell us about how St. John was this great laborer, and how we should be like St. John, and you're going to make a correlation between Kronstadt and, let's say, the east side of Kansas City? I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to tell you who the real laborer was. And this is where all of you come in. Before St. John was St. John, before he was this priest holding daily liturgies, people lining up, just begging a blessing from him, to get some sort of connection or glimpse from him. Before any of that, St. John was a young priest overwhelmed with his assignment. And this woman who was in grief needed a miracle. And she came to St. John and she said, St. John, not St. John, Father John, my son's sick. Please, pray for him. So St. John, he begins to go through the motions, like any young priest would, trying to fumble with the book, try to say some memorized prayer. And she says, "No, Father John, pray." And in that moment, he realized, me going through the motions isn't going to do anything for this woman in her desperation. The only one that's going to help this woman is God. And if I can't muster the willingness, the ability, the love to actually do my job, which is to reach out to God and to intercede on behalf of this woman who's desperate, then what is the point? And it's from that moment that St. John learned how to pray. You tell me, who's the laborer? If that woman didn't come to him in desperation and said to him, "No, you pray. Don't go through the motions, Father John. Pray," there would be no St. John of Kronstadt. There would be no miracle-working man that we could set on a shelf and say, wow. It was that woman's desperation. It was that woman's faith. She's the one that brought the harvest. She's the one that made the saint. It was from that moment, that seed, Holy Russia was birthed. So, what can God do with us? He can do anything that we're willing to let him do. We just have to have enough desperation. We have to be willing to be laborers. We have to be willing to bring the harvest right where we've been planted. We have to be willing to actually pray. To the prayers of St. John of Kronstadt, Lord Jesus Christ, our God have mercy.